Hi everyone. So today I have two very special guests here on my channel.
Hey, I'm Lidiia Salo. I'm a foreigner living in Finland, even though I have a Finnish name and many think I'm a Finn. Just got lucky to marry one. I moved to Finland about 6 years ago from Russia, from Moscow. Professionally, I'm a marketer. And because the journey of being a foreigner in Finland has not been as easy as I wish it would have been, now I have a mission to help highly educated professionals in Finland succeed here. There are three main struggles that foreigners face in Finland. One is language learning. Finnish is not an easy language to learn. Second one is finding a job. And the third one is loneliness, so finding friends. That's me in a nutshell.
My name is Tareque Mahmud, and I live in Finland a little longer than Lidiia, 15 years almost. I moved from Bangladesh to here when I was 19 to do my bachelor degree. Now I have dual citizenship in Bangladesh and Finland. I've been to Finnish army for a year. Professionally, I'm a videographer. I used to work as a freelancer, but now I'm establishing a company. I'm passionate about talking about Finnish language and entrepreneurship. And currently I live in Espoo with my wife.
Actually, the reason I invited you to chat together with me on my channel is because you both are involved with sharing knowledge about the YKI testi in Finland. Could you guys share a bit first what this exam is?
In Finnish, it means yleinen kielitutkinto, which is in English, language testing system in Finland. People can take part in many different languages in YKI test, but the most cases when people are applying for Finnish citizenship, they need to take this language test either in Finnish or in Swedish, and in the intermediate level, which is like the mid level. Yeah, that's why we need the YKI exam.
We actually passed the test ourselves, me and Tareque, in the first attempt. And we can also share a little bit about our language learning journey in Finland that might be very interesting for others to know.
Maybe this time we can start with Lidiia. What has been your Finnish language journey so far?
When I moved to Finland, I applied for the integration courses. It's a program where they teach you Finnish, as well as the thing that's called työelämä, basically how the working life and system functions in Finland.
And I was super lucky to get involved into that program. And now, when I talk to a foreigner who comes to Finland and who has a chance to go through this program, I'm always saying, please take this chance. I know it is 1 year, it's almost 1 year, but trust me, if you're planning to live in Finland, this is the best time invested into learning Finnish. Jos mä voin vähän selittää suomeksi myös. Se ei ollut helppo. Se on 5 tuntia päivässä, sä oot koulussa ja sitten 2 tuntia tekemässä kotitehtävät koulusta. Sitten alussa mä olin se oli vähän ärsyttävä, koska mä opiskelen monta tuntia. Sitten mä puhuin kaikille niin hyvin kuin mä osaisin. Mutta mä en ole ymmärtänyt mitään, mitä muuta sanoo suomeksi. Sitten jotain on tapahtunut. Ja se oli niin kuin yllätys. Odota, nyt mä ymmärrän, mitä sä sanoit mulle. So I just spoke a little bit of Finnish to give you like some understanding of my level. I know I don't speak perfectly. I know I make mistakes. What I was trying to say for those who are just at the beginning of the language learning journey, I was trying to say that at first it was very difficult from this point of view that you invest a lot of energy into learning the language. As I said, 5-7 hours a day, Monday to Friday, I felt like everything is boiling inside, brains are boiling. And but then something happened, like it was almost like a day change. I think the neurons worked in a funny way that I started understanding what people are talking about around me. and I didn't feel dumb anymore after that. I knew it's paying off, and learning Finnish became much more inspiring after that. So I've studied for a year, first at Edupolis and Galimatias in Helsinki, and after 1 year I passed the YKI Test. And the reason for me to pass it back then was not the citizenship, like many use this test to apply for the citizenship. Back then I was quite fresh in Finland and I didn't think about that at all. It was to test how well I learned the language. And I'm sure Tareque can share a little bit more of his journey, which was different from mine.
Yeah, thank you, Lidiia. I think, yeah, it's a bit different for me since I came as a student. So maybe I can also try Finnish, let's see.
Yeah, go for it.
Mä tulin Suomen eli opiskelemaan eli ammattikorkeakoulussa. Ensimmäinen 4 vuotta, kun mä olin koulussa ja mun kaikki kaverit puhuu tosi hyvää englantia, sen takia mä en oppinut mitään suomea, eli paitsi kiitos. Mutta koulun jälkeen, kun etsin töitä, silloin mä ymmärsin, eli se on niin tärkeää, eli oppia suomea, koska eli jokainen työpaikassa se kysyy, sun täytyy eli puhua täydellisesti suomea. 4 vuoden jälkeen mä aloitin oppia suomea. Mutta mulla oli semmoinen tilanne, esimerkiksi se oli semmoinen aika, mä voin hakea eli Suomen kansalaisuutta. Sen takia mä otin suoraan eli toi YKI-testi. Se oli vähän intensiivinen minulle. Mä opiskelin ehkä 3 kuukautta eli ennen mä otin tämä testi. Mä kävin semmoinen iltakurssille ja sitten opiskelin paljon eli kotona. Eka kerralla se meni läpi, eli YKI-testi. Ja sen jälkeen jatkuvasti minä rakastan suomen kieli. Se oli mulle saavutus, että okei, nyt täytyy oppia enemmän ja enemmän. And I feel like learning new language is a big achievement and it's fun. I love. After learning the language, I feel like this is my home. I mean, Finland is my home now.
You both have taken the exam and passed it. Congratulations, by the way. Yeah, on the first try. That's pretty amazing. What insights have you gotten from your own experiences that have led to the creation of this ebook that you have recently released?
So the book that you mentioned, it's actually an ebook, a step-by-step guide to passing the YKI test. It's available to everyone to download for free. The website is called YKI Pass.fi or .fi.
Just to be clear here, it's not a grammar book. It's just a guide that is taking you step by step to the results you want to achieve. There were many reasons for us to write this ebook. I can talk from my perspective and Tareque can add a little bit. I have intensely studied Finnish, and even though I did all of that, when the test started, I was not quite prepared, maybe even a little bit mentally for some parts of the test. I can give you an example. During the speaking part of the test, when you're expected to talk in Finnish, everyone sits in the same room. Between me and my neighbors, there were only this kind of a small, almost I would say kartonki thing. And you can imagine everyone listens to the same piece of audio and you need to speak after that. And everyone speaks at the same time. If you're not mentally prepared for that, then you cannot say anything. It's so distracting that I'm sure that I would have passed this part much better if I would have known that it's going to be like that. So from my side, I can say we wanted to share the experience of others so people would be prepared.
In my case, I read one line from this book called Still Like an Artist. It says that write a book that you want to read. When I took this exam back in 2014, there was no actually guidebook like that we have now that take you, this journey, like from where you should start, how to collect this motivation, how to, register for the exam, and how to what to study and what I'm expecting to come in the exam. So I had no guideline for that. In fact, I knew about what is coming in my YKI exam just 2 weeks before I took the exam.
Really?
I had some kind of this mock test. It was arranged by Vantan Kaupunki. I can remember the name. So when I took the test, then I realized, oh yeah, I have to sit like next to other people in the speaking test. Luckily, I knew that I have to do it even 2 weeks before. But the point is that we wrote this book so that those people who are looking for motivation, who are maybe a little bit like overwhelmed with all the information, so if they read this book, they will be a little bit stress-free that, okay, yeah, this is what I'm expecting.
I wanted to add to that that there was one more factor. Many can relate to that as well. We have friends who have been living in Finland for 8, 9, whatever, 10 years, and they have been trying to learn Finnish over these years, of course, though they still felt it's way too stressful and difficult to go to the YKI test. So with this guide, we wanted to reassure them as well that in a way, like, don't worry, it is just a language test. If you have some level of Finnish and then you practice it in the correct way, you will get it.
And on that note, I thought we could talk about a few questions that some of my followers asked me. I know you guys briefly touched on this before, but if you could just emphasize, how long did you guys prepare for the exam, and how much time would you recommend someone to realistically spend on specifically preparing for the exam before they take it?
As I've mentioned, in my case it was 1 year and then the test came. But I don't want others to take this as a role model, because we are, all of us, we are so different. I would say there is one theme that you can use for yourself to understand where you are now. If you learn the language to the level of A2, for some people it can take half a year, for some people it can be 1 year or 2 years. So it really depends on the person. So after that, the best thing that you could do, A2, the best thing you could do is to find the YKI specific course and just take it and get to the B1 level like that. And then there is a huge chance that you will actually pass the test.
I also agree with Lidiia that actually it's a journey. It depends on the person. Even though I mentioned that I prepared for YKI 3 months, I think which is not exactly true, because I lived in Finland 4 years before. And even though I could only say kiitos, but I think that was because I was just scared to speak more. Obviously, like during my university life, I took I think it was 12 credits of Finnish language. So I had the basic actually ready, that I was even not aware of it. So when I jumped onto the YKI, it helped me. And like I mentioned, that it was really, I took it very intensively. In fact, the last 1 month, I took holiday from my work so that I can just only study before the exam. So my journey was totally different. And I would say the same, that for other people, I have example that a lot of my friends' spouse came Finland, and after this kotoutumiskoulutus, this integration training, and after 1 year of this training, they immediately pass the test. But also some people, it might take a little bit longer. So it totally depends on the person.
Language is always a journey, and everyone's journey looks a bit different, but thank you for again sharing your insights on this.
Another question I got, they asked if you guys would be able to share some practical tips for someone aiming to pass the exam, and what specifically helped you.
I'm excited to share one specific tips which I found really important, which is registering for the YKI test. I feel like it's a bit not very straightforward process. How is that? Let's say I want to take right now. I've been thinking to take this ylintaso, or the advanced level Finnish language test. So if I decide today that I will take the test, it's not like I will go to internet immediately and book my test. The process is a bit longer, which is like I have to go to the website, check when is the next available registration date. And interestingly, actually, a lot of people are waiting for this same date to same location, so that I need to be a little bit, faster when this registration open up. Is normally open up 10 o'clock in the morning. Is Saturday or Sunday in weekend time it open up, and then you immediately have to actually register for the exam. And a lot of people doesn't know, and in case you miss the next registration date, that means you have to wait another couple of months to so that it will maybe 6 months is the whole process will take. So this I found kind of very challenging, and you need to maybe set an alarm in your phone that, okay, today is the registration date and I need to book it today.
So it's like buying concert tickets almost.
My biggest tip would be to read the ebook, because it's full of things you should consider before, during, and after the test. For example, one advice that I really, really loved, and why do I keep talking about speaking? I will tell you why. Because out of 4 parts of the YKI test, actually almost everyone passes the reading part. It's not difficult to people, but 2 parts are the most confusing ones or challenging ones, is writing and speaking. So I will give you 2 tips how to overcome challenges during these parts. For the speaking part, we interviewed so many people who passed the YKI test, and one mentioned that she would sit with her partner, almost face to face, and with a timer practice speaking Finnish. And the goal was not to not make mistakes, but to be understood by the person. This is a very good skill you can practice as well at home. Just put a timer and try to speak as much as you can. And for the writing part, a trick that you can use for any language exam, like IELTS, TOEFL, any writing consists of a specific structure: introduction, points, opinions, and conclusion. Imagine that you have learned all the filling phrases at the beginning, in my opinion, in my country in comparison to Finland, all of these. You know them, you remember them, plus you have learned 1, 2, 3 writings from the practice tasks. And when you get your test in front of you, using all this information that you memorized, you can already write 30 to 50% of the text. Whatever subject there is, the sentences might be used again and again. So this is my biggest advice for the writing part.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So you mentioned the timer. So could you elaborate a bit more what the timer is used for, or what the purpose of it is?
Yes, in the speaking part of the test, there are different tasks. And for example, one type of a task is there is a recording of a person talking to you, and then you need to answer. Of course, beforehand you will have text, and you will have some idea of what is the structure of the conversation. For example, a friend is coming to your place and you haven't met in a long time. So he says, "Moika, la 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 la, mitä kuuluu, la 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 la," and then there is space and you need to answer something. And so this is how the conversation is built. And for every window, there is a time slot that is given to you to answer to that particular prompt, it's called. So it can be, 15 seconds. So if you don't practice answering quickly, then you will just lose the points there. You will just lose the time. So that's what I meant by practice by a timer.
Well, I guess we kind of touched on this as well, the key challenges that test takers commonly face when they're preparing. So you mentioned that usually the speaking and the writing is a challenging area. Would you say there's any other challenges that you faced when preparing for the exam or during the exam?
What I have seen commonly to my other friends is that this lack of motivation and support. When you think of that, okay, I have to take a test which is like entirely in Finnish. The question will be in Finnish and I have to answer in Finnish. It feels a little bit like overwhelming. And then if you don't have a supportive friend who can tell you that, no, just go ahead and just take it. Don't be scared. Just if you can't make it in first try, maybe the second try will be you will pass it. And then I know that a lot of my friends, even they don't go to take the test just because they don't have this support. That's why I think our book is also like we mentioned that this is like a supportive friend to you. We have used in the book a very supportive tone, language that is like when you read the book, it feels like we are talking to you as a supportive friend.
During the test day, there are so many nuances that you can think in advance. For example, some of the testing centers can be chaotic. So if you could pick a test wisely, that's what I would also like consider. For example, there is no time to go and eat warm lunch during the breaks. So you will need to bring something with you. And considering that Finland is in general a cold country, it can be that it's chill inside. So even if you dressed up and there is no hot meal, try to think about it in advance. And many more things are mentioned in one of the chapters of the ebook.
Yeah, that's great. So there's a whole chapter about this that people can read in the book. This next question was actually asked quite a few times. If someone is planning on moving to Finland and they're already kind of mentally preparing for the move and what they're going to be doing, at what point would you recommend someone take the exam after their move? And also a lot of people asked, is the beginner level tests worth taking?
Imagine that you live in Germany and you have been learning the language for 2 years. You had a Finnish language tutor, for example, and then you move to Finland because you know you're going to move to Finland apparently. Then you can immediately go and try to pass the test, and the chances are high that you will pass it. So it is very, very individual. And I would maybe even like start with a different question. Why do you want to pass it at all? There are many different reasons for that. As I said, if you are planning to build your life in Finland, to build a family in Finland, and you're not going to move anywhere, so you will apply for citizenship, then of course you can start preparing for the YKI test. But there is a requirement of years, of how many years you have lived in Finland. So I would say no, don't rush it. Better invest more time into learning the language because you will need it if you want to live in Finland anyways. There is this one like branch that is for studies. I know that some institutions require some level of Finnish to study, for example, for lähihoitaja. So if you already know that you want to study in Finnish and you need that certificate for that, and then the level is depending basic or middle level, then you can already like think when to start preparing depending on the test you take. And then there is one more branch that is called I need a job in Finland. There are not so many cases, I would say, where they will ask you to bring a certificate. Most likely they will just talk to you and they will know immediately what is your Finnish language level. By the way, guys, if you need the YKI certificate for your work, please write in comments and tell us what was the job that you wanted to get and why they asked. And the fourth reason why someone would like to take the YKI test is that you just want to check that you've put so much effort into learning the language, and then did it pay off? And then you go to the test and you see how you are doing. But in that case, I would say also no rush, take it easy if you're doing it for pleasure.
And I can add a little bit at the second part of the question, like, is it worth to take the beginner level exam? From my experience, I haven't encountered any situation where actually that certificate or that level required, like, officially taking the exam. But if there is something, someone asks that, okay, we want the beginner level, it can be some school or some course, training, something. But from my personal experience, I feel like it's not so much needed unless you have a valid reason for it. If somebody wants to do it like voluntarily and it costs some money, so, well, you are welcome.
The last question is, does taking the YKI Testi realistically help you with finding a job in Finland?
There are maybe two different markets, I would say. One where you can work in English if you speak English well. There are jobs in this area and you don't quite need to even speak Finnish to get a job in this field. Though I need to say it's super, super competitive. There are so many professionals and so little jobs that even like knowing Finnish can be your advantage. In that case, you don't need the YKI test, you can show that you can have a conversation in Finnish. At the same time, there are so many jobs that require you to speak Finnish. For example, as a cashier, or anyone who is facing customers in a restaurant, you are expected to know Finnish. And here it depends on a particular job. In most cases, I feel like they will not ask for the YKI test, they will just talk to you in Finnish and see if you can handle the daily work situations in Finnish. There are also jobs where you need education in Finnish, as the one we mentioned, lähihoitaja, or practical nurse, or a nurse, or a doctor, and so on, licensed areas. So there you will need to study in Finnish, and again it depends on a particular study place. Some might require you to show the certificate. Some might only interview you in Finnish to see if you will be able to keep up with studies.
I just want to add one general thing is that when we apply for a job and then there is, let's say, so one job, 10 person is applying and 2 persons say that they have at least completed the intermediate level of Finnish and 8 say that they don't know anything about Finnish. So of course it puts you ahead in your competition. Even though this 10 person has similar background, similar study, similar experience in life, but knowing a language in a different country, and it's not like, I don't expect that someone speak France in Finland, it's not going to help so much as you know the Finnish language here. It at least it will help you to have small conversation with your colleague when you are working together. It just shows your motivation that you are a person who knows how to take challenges. Yeah, it's a general answer, but it is important in that case.
We've covered quite a lot, and if people are wanting to find out even more, I'm sure they can find a lot of their answers to their questions from your book. And if not, you can always leave them in the comments and we can try to answer them as well. But just here at the end, could you tell us where people can find your book from, or do you have any other websites or social media pages you would like to highlight? Now's your chance to let everyone know.
You can download the ebook from our website. It's called www.ykipass.fi. So YKI means YKI Pass .fi. And also we have social media channels in Instagram at YKI Pass and Facebook also at YKI Pass.
And the group that Tareque mentioned on Facebook, it's actually not so much for chatting with us, it's about peer support. So if you have any questions about YKI or you want to read how others experience a test, just go there and then you can ask your question. And the links to social media channels are on the website.
Yes, so head over to the website and you'll find everything that you guys mentioned there. And again, the book is free, so definitely I recommend you guys to all go download it and read the book because it's full of very, very good information. I'd just like to thank you both again for joining me on my channel. It was a pleasure to chat with you guys, and even I personally learned a lot more. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
For inviting us. Yeah.